to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucious, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience. Yes, sir. We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Happy outdoor season. It's officially here. Official now. So, welcome all to another fun episode of Athletics LLC. If you haven't joined us before, I don't know what you've been doing for 51 weeks, but better late than never. So here you are, 51. What the heck? So, treating everybody as a newbie, and that way when we get into the new year, it'll be all kinds of fun again. Let me introduce the three tiles that are joining me right now. We'll start off with Clyde. Sir, how are you doing today?
I'm in my funeral attire for resting in peace of the Big Ten and the basketball tournament. And since the Pac-12 is currently 9-1, we're representing with the Pac-12. So yeah, thanks guys. Awesome job.
Oh man. Sir Lucious, how are you this evening, sir?
Yeah, I am well. I'm doing very well, and you know, even though I do have some Big Ten ties, I too am in mourning along with my man Clyde for the Big Ten, and also of course for our esteemed EP Lamar, who as you can see is definitely in mourning about what's going on with the Big Ten today. So.
Well, and last and certainly not least, we've got Lamar got vaccinated Huffins. Hello there.
How we doing tonight? I got on camouflage so they can't see me after all this praise I heaped on the Big Ten and basketball tournament. Because see what had happened was there was 10 Big Ten teams and they was balling and they had the best game in the business. And then they got punched square in the mouth, Mike Tyson style. And evidently, Juwan Howard's the only one that wanted to coach anymore after last week. Just saying.
Props to Juwan and, you know, the mighty Wolverines. But yeah, okay.
Everybody else done gone fishing.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was tough. It was hard to watch.
I mean, so just based on that, so how are our final four picks doing, folks? I mean,
I still got two alive. I got two alive. Gonzaga,
I got three,
and Michigan are still alive.
I got two.
Who was your fourth one?
Me?
Yeah.
I've got Baylor, Gonzaga.
Well, then I have three.
Yes.
Houston and Alabama.
Ah, got it. Okay. I just couldn't remember who they were. I have Baylor, Gonzaga, Michigan left. Yeah, that whole bottom bracket, you could just cancel all of that. Everybody down there with the Illinois people, yeah. I just root for a team that looks good. Go for
it. I am rooting for Loyola though.
Yeah, great story. Great story.
Mr. Gene.
Yep.
That's funny. Well, we liked it when Sir Lucious was in the seat directing the show, or leading the show, I should say. So we're going to give him a little opportunity to do that not a little, I shouldn't say little. We're going to give him an opportunity to do that once again. So
I think what Big League is saying is that she's going to give me another chance, maybe to do a little better than I did before, I guess. I think that's her way of telling me that I did a good job, but I'm not Big League. So I'll try to do better. So.
I mean, she definitely considers you minor league Jew at this point.
Okay. See,
that was actually
no matter, you know, that was actually pretty funny.
Well played,
but not nearly as funny as your rant about the Big Ten basketball last week.
No, that's very true. Man, right. Sometimes you are professional grade wrong. I've been more wrong than that once, and we're not going to discuss that. We discussed that on the show once before, but man, that was almost.
I'm going to
be
good, and we're going to get into these picks. Okay, so here's the deal. So each of you get 3 events of your own choosing, or each gender, for the Ncaa Outdoor Meet. 3 events you're excited to watch, and you get to tell me who's going to win, right? So we're going to start with the women first, and because I'm the ultimate gentleman at all times, Big League gets to pick first. So Big League for the women, we'll go, you'll have to give us all three.
Okay.
And just tell me which three events you're excited to watch and who's going to win.
Track and field
Okay.
version of way too early picks.
Way too early.
Wait.
Way
I'm
too
still
early.
writing. And so this is where I became conflicted, is because I'm still riding the wave of the NC's marks. And so I was like, oh yeah, easy. And then you're like, wait a minute, there's other ball players that are going to come into the game. And then there's outdoors, so it's different. And so like, I literally am, you're not helping my path to righteousness of picking well. So
See, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you understand, the intricacies of these situations.
The pressure I put on
the
you
next
all?
time that we have these things, that we do better, because at this point in time, the only thing worse than your picks have been my man Lamar's picks of the NCAA basketball tournament.
So
No.
Oh.
I'm actually doing better than
No,
you
we're
have
talking
done.
about, look, hold on a second. Big Ten. That's
The
all I gotta say.
first round was bad for
All
sure.
right, Big League, let's go.
okay. So I'm still on the Mo wave for sure. We haven't heard any grumblings about her leaving yet. So I definitely am waiting to see the 800. I do believe she's going to run the 800 outdoor. So I can't wait to
Okay.
see that and her win that.
Okay.
For a shorter sprint, I really like what Abby Steiner did indoor. I've seen her run outdoor. I saw her run in high school, and I've seen the evolution of that in the short time that's happened. So I'm really excited to see what she's going to do now that they've given her some tweaks to help her run as opposed to soccer run. And then lastly, this is definitely the wave from indoor, is to see the HEP, the Anna Hall and Tyra Gittens duel, and see how that fares. I was looking back at what their outdoor marks were. And obviously there's other contenders that are still going to be in there, but I think those two will serve a very good show in the HEP, because it's, like now, not that Anna Hall wasn't hungry in the beginning, but now she's got a little bit of blood in her mouth and she didn't get the whole feast. So
Okay, so are you going to pick a winner?
no.
No, you have to. That's part of the rules.
Shoot.
He said no.
But then you see how she tried to just talk her way around it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Go, okay,
It
on
feels
to the next
smooth.
guy. You have to pick. Look, I think it was very clearly stated here.
Oh man.
Three events you're excited to watch and who you think's going to win.
So because I selected those two in the head-to-head battle, I will go with Anna Hall.
Okay.
And I'm going
All right.
off, and this is just a shot in the dark. So anyways, I won't ramble. A shot in the dark.
Okay. Clyde,
Yes.
what you got for us,
Tyra
brother?
Gittens wants to speak to Big League Chew. Hold on.
Shush.
Well, it's an interesting question for sure. I'll take the low hanging fruit since Chu jumped in it already. One of the events I'm most definitely excited to watch is the women's 200 meters. I don't think anyone is going to truly challenge Miss Abby Steiner. I think she's going to win it, and I think she's going to take the collegiate record off the books. That
Ooh.
is my
Ooh, hold on, player.
prediction
Mm.
in the 200.
So we're not only predicting a win, we're predicting a collegiate record.
Hey, since I don't think the race is going to be particularly close, I think she's chasing the clock, and I think she goes under 22 seconds and takes that record off the books. That's what I think.
Okay, and just because I've been known to stir the pot a little bit. Hello, USC, defending champion.
Oh, I know who's there.
Hold on a second. I'm not finished with my phone connection here. Miss 2218 is going to get curb stomped.
I didn't say curb stomp. You said
You
curb
said it's not going to be close.
Well,
I mean, so if you run 2218 and it's not close,
well,
it's curb stomping.
listen, in the sprints, 22-1 and 21-8, 21-9 isn't really a close race.
So like I said, so hello.
That's a
LA.
curb stomping.
That's a curb stomping.
And
Okay.
Really, I apologize.
I like it.
I'll stir that pot
No, it's fine. Listen,
But look, since you're in
I
LA,
like it.
when your phone rings and you see the number, you know, oh, it's like that. Okay.
Hey,
Anyway, your
look,
second choice, sir.
that's
I
where I'm
apologize.
going with that. Listen, I think the roster implosions. I think a lot of people aren't really paying attention to the returners, like the people that weren't around indoors that are coming back outdoors.
Which is what this is the whole premise of my
Yes, of
question
course,
was, and I
of
think
course.
Big League caught that, even though Big League went straight chalk. We'll deal with that later. But go ahead.
A little talk. So another event that ultimately where the intrigue really isn't about who's returning is, for me, the women's 400-meter hurdles. And I really think that the young lady from USC, Miss Ncaa, is gonna finally find her footing and pull out that win. I think she's gonna find a way to get that done.
She didn't win it in 19?
Did she win it? No. Did she?
I'm looking. Hold on. I was on that.
I was too caught up in the 4x4 issue. Did she win that race in 19?
I'm getting there. Hold on. I'm almost there.
Well, then she's gonna defend her title, because that's what I'm waiting to see.
So
she didn't win.
it was Janique Brown, Chanel Brissett, and then
That is the 100 hurdles.
That's
And
100
see this, so Big League, you just shot yourself in the foot.
That's the
What'd you
100,
That's the 100 hurdles you're reading, my dear.
100
We're
hurdles.
talking about the 400 hurdles.
400 hurdles.
oh JK.
And see, so the funniest thing said on this show in a long time is Janique Brown and Chanel Brissett in the 400 hurdles. Now,
Absolutely.
That is
I wasn't
absolutely
listening.
No.
Chanel Brissett would quit track if she was asked to run the 400 hurdles.
So in the 400s, it was Renee McKenzie. Is that how you say that? Renee? No, that's not it. That's not it.
My God.
No.
This is the ranking. Sorry, hold on. Let me get there.
Finals. Shoot,
No,
finals.
see, this is how you do flash results, 2019 UCA championships, and a cockerel.
Keep talking. I don't know where I'm at on T4.
Let me help you out here, Big League. I've already taken your seat.
What is going on tonight?
Yeah, Big League. I'm
You can take
surprised.
back checking seat.
I'm on the
It
qualifying.
should be
list,
right
that's
under
okay.
the. What
I'm
is
pretty
Big
sure.
League.
I'm pretty sure.
you? You don't
Looking
need
minor league
qualifying
tonight.
list.
Well, I didn't know it was on there.
NCAA list ain't even clickable from the qualifying list.
No, it's a race.
Look, I could have told you the answer. I know who won. That's why I said it. It was Anna Cockrell of 55.
You did win. What was the time?
Yeah.
Time.
55-23.
What was it?
55-23.
Okay.
And Chu can send you some look as if she doesn't trust me.
I think she. I think she runs 53 seconds.
Okay. So I'm gonna allow you to backtrack again.
I'm not
because
backtracking.
Clearly, you were delusional there when you said you think she's finally gonna get over the hump.
I didn't remember that she won the race. I thought she got second.
That's clear, sir. But go ahead.
So I think she wins it, and I think she runs 53 seconds.
Okay.
And then, I'm a relay nut, and with all the returners and additions, I think the women's 4x4 national record falls outdoors as well.
Ooh, okay.
I think that falls as well. Now, who does it?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say like this. I gotta hear this now.
I don't know. Who does it is
look.
It's really, really.
That's gonna be hot.
It's really, really interesting, and I think USC takes it.
Okay.
USC wins the outdoor 4x4, and I think they take the record or reset the record. Because do they have it or does Oregon have it? I can't remember which race.
Oh wow, are you disrespecting the Pac? So you just the thing that you're disrespecting the Pac-12 all day here. So I'm gonna let you figure that.
No, I just said do they have it or does Oregon have it? I can't remember which meet was.
Oregon has it. I mean, hold a second. You talk about the parade duels, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it's Oregon, right?
I can remember the back and forth. So yeah,
Since Big League is struggling tonight, I think let me help her out.
I'm trying.
Woo, show is off the rails tonight.
Oregon 323-13.
Right. Okay.
There you go. Okay, so
those are my three.
got vaccinated. What you got for us?
I'm too busy laughing at all the nonsense and shenanigans that have already gone on.
Well, go ahead and add to it, sir.
My first one is relatively low-hanging fruit. I am very interested to watch the Mo show, and it's her versus the clock. And I guess the question I have is, will she take the women's 800 into another stratosphere outdoors that won't ever get broken, like 156?
You mean like she did with the indoor 800, right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Right. Like,
right.
Does she like take it off and drop it off the Grand Canyon, like she did the indoors? So I am very interested to see the, a thing Mo versus said clock battle. I got my money on a thing Mo in that one. It's not low hanging fruit because a lot of times indoor success does not beget outdoor success. But I am very interested to see if Tara Davis can break the collegiate record outdoors in the long jump, because it is very, very far and relatively old.
So, but you are calling Miss Davis for the win, though.
I am calling Miss Tara Davis for the win, and I believe, I don't know if it's going to happen at the national meet, but I do believe that she is going to jump 7 meters as a collegian.
All
right. Okay. And your third event, sir?
My third event, I actually wanted to take the 4x4, but I don't want to jump on that bandwagon. So I'm gonna go a different route. I am gonna go to my specialty. So I'm gonna pick the combined events. And for one, I am definitely picking Miss Gittens, even though Lord knows adding the javelin to her schedule is not a good thing for her. I think that Tyra Gittens is going to win outdoors. I'm interested to see if she can approach the outdoor collegiate record. That is a staunch record. And I'll be honest, I don't think so, but I'll say this. If you can jump 6'4" indoors, God only knows what you're going to do outdoors. Same with the long jump. So like, if those outdoor marks become, 4.5 or 6'5", and 675 or 680, anything's possible. So my third event that I'm very interested to watch, because I think it'd be one of the more compelling, is the women's heptathlon. And something tells me it's not going to just be those two that's in the battle.
So Sir Lucious, I want to point out, in our way too early predictions, Mr. Got Vaccinated has not learned his lesson from indoors. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in there. Giddens gets the outdoor record too.
I don't know which thing I didn't learn from that. I picked her to win.
Yeah, no. We
well, see what he's referring.
We're not doubting the victory, but
like I think what he's referring to, and as we know, Clyde can be petty when he wants to be, and to his credit, he claims to be petty, but
sure.
That was just his back way of reminding you that he asked or insinuated that the indoor record could be broken, and you basically told him it's not going
to happen. Yeah.
So that was his way of lesson learned. Like, well, maybe it wasn't.
Raise your hand if you saw her jumping 6'4" at the national meet. I'll wait.
I don't know nothing about it.
Okay.
I saw it.
Okay. Right. So
okay.
So
be clear. So we're gonna, before this gets off the rails, we're gonna get back on task here. Yeah. And the fact that she jumped, whether we saw her jump at 6'4" or not, does not take away from the fact that Clyde believed, as did I, that she was going to break the collegiate record. But that's your backhanded way of saying we got lucky. Well, we got lucky. All right, so
yeah, it don't matter.
Since you were the last to go, in true fashion, you may go next, sir. Then let that go. You just got look. You've been just getting a bit beat up on lately. Let's let it go.
I mean, it's fine.
You got curb stomped in the prediction race. Come on, let's go.
Okay, so we're on the men's side.
I think I'm gonna Clyde. I'm gonna mail you a medal. Don't worry about it. I got you. Good.
Oh, don't make me go get medals.
No.
Okay.
Not that kind of show, buddy.
Let's not make any more medal references.
Why?
My
He
ego
won.
can only take but so much. He did.
Okay.
Okay. On the men's side,
Yeah.
well, I certainly am not going to make any mistake that I made indoors. I am definitely not picking against Javon. I guess for me,
so I think there's a caveat to this. We're not allowed to discuss Javon. So like we're not even picking his events. So stop.
No, I'm gonna pick him for a reason, right? I don't think the collegiate record is in danger because he'd have to go to altitude for that. But I would like to see if Javon Harrison is going to jump 28 feet.
Okay.
So the real contest, and again, it's not like he only won by 4 inches indoors. So it's not like there's nobody who can jump far outdoors.
Okay.
Right.
That's
but for me, Javon Harrison and 853, which is 28 feet, like that's the contest I want to see.
Okay.
Can he jump 28 feet?
So as a caveat to that, then you're expecting Mr. Grimes to challenge him outdoors.
I am.
And to give Mr. Grimes credit, he did come down on his last attempt and he went for it. And I was in the building and Mr. Grimes was not happy. I can promise you that's a motivated young man right now. All right, so on to your next pick, sir.
I think one of the more exciting events this year outdoors is going to be the pole vault because there are 3 580 guys. And that's never happened. I do think that Casey Lightfoot's gonna win, but man, do I think it's gonna take a Herculean and heroic effort. Like, last bar hits it, wiggle, 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 stays type deal.
Okay. And your third event?
My third event is actually the third and fourth event. My way too early and ridiculous prediction is that Mr. Washington at Arizona State wins the NCAA title in the shot put and the discus.
Okay.
A double. I like it.
Well, he just broke Ryan Whiting's outdoor school record in the discus by a little more than 2 meters on his first meet of the season.
Okay.
And 64 meters is deep. So my way too early bold prediction is Washington for 20.
Okay. All right. Clyde, what you got for me, brother?
I like how Lamar packaged that last pick. I like it.
He did well.
I might steal some of that a little bit.
That's fair.
I'm not even sure if this is a way too early one, but I like what he did there. So I'm going to lean into that and say that the Javon Harrison show continues and he wins the double outdoors as well. Double for Mr. Harrison. High jump, long jump. All due respect to Mr. Grimes, who I am thoroughly impressed with.
Absolutely.
It's just something different about that kid.
And then like we talked about indoors, like everybody was like, what was wrong with him at the conference meeting? We all agreed that he didn't need to jump far. He was in a league that was far inferior to him, and he and his coach had a plan. And unfortunately, he just ran into a buzzsaw called Mr. Harrison. So I expect more of the same out of those guys outdoors.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the double for Mr. Harrison. I think one of the most compelling events for me, one of the most compelling events that I don't think people were planning for but became one indoors was the men's 200 with Mr. Bowling in a splendid, but I think most people would say unexpected win in that moment. Well, 20.1 is 20.1. It was rolling. And now you could call him the favorite. But the tracks ain't banked. The lanes don't matter anymore. And I'm gonna pick Mr. Fambule, aka Baby Zion, in men's 200.
Baby Zion. Okay.
And so that's 2, right? Okay. So where to go with the third one? I can't, you know what? I'm just gonna stay in my favorite place. My favorite outdoor event to coach, my favorite outdoor event to watch is always the 4x1. And the last time we had an NCAA championships, we had an incredible race where magically 38-0 got you beat and beat pretty handily if you go watch the video. A lot of people didn't think 37 was possible. That is the current national record. I feel like that national record is going to fall in the men's 4x1. And oddly enough, just disrespectfully enough, it's going to fall by the same roster, or I should say the same school. Or I think our host here has something up his sleeve, and I think the Florida Gators will reset the men's 4x1 relay record.
It's a little pressure there, huh?
I know.
Yeah. And since he's putting pressure on us, I'm gonna put some pressure on you, sir.
Okay.
You and the youngins. So
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, done.
You go ahead and get that accomplished so we can watch it again.
Yes, sir.
I mean, with
first thing tomorrow morning.
with Zion and Raymond, right? Like you starting pretty good.
That's true.
Just saying.
Okay. Miss Big League.
So like mentioned below me, he must be my mentor or something. I wanted to highlight the pole vault competition again with Casey Lightfoot winning. I think it's gonna be very interesting getting some jumps under his belt. I don't know, seeing his practice videos on social media and whatnot, it looks like if it stays the way it's gonna be very interesting and very high. Whether that makes it all the way to outdoors, who knows? But it'll be exciting nonetheless. I do think, and I'm not going to package it, but I think the shot put is going to be very interesting with Mr. Turner Washington winning again. And excited to see what a couple more months of training gets him, and that'll be fun.
T-Dub.
What hasn't been mentioned yet, and we talked a lot about indoors, and I think seeing the list of who had the potential to return and whatnot and make that competition interesting was the men's 400. And are we going to see that momentum carry outside? I think Mr. Stewart showed us a lot in that 4x4. And I think that was just a little taster. And, having seen these snippets of interviews of about what he's talking about the HBCUs and them being overlooked, I think that whole crew is ready to do something big and giving everybody the bird and saying, don't count us out. So I think that in itself is a flame under their arses. So
you're predicting Trevor Stewart for the 400 meter?
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
And I
Interesting.
Kudos for you for, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but most people probably aren't, that he is the number one returner. So
yeah,
he was just out
know.
long. Yeah. All right, so we got those. We got them documented, and so we'll circle around soon and see what we got as far as the way too early.
Way too early.
Way too early. I heard A&T is going after collegiate record 4x4. A birdie flew by the house and was like, "Woohoo!"
Stupid.
Well, I will tell you
interesting.
This. I think it's very interesting, but not a slight to them. I'm not saying they can't do it, but the team that ran 259 ran 3 flat indoors. So just saying.
I don't disagree.
But again, I mean, like you said, it's outdoors, different deal. I think, the length of Mr. Ross being outside helps him because the dude is long, the banks can't be helping him a lot. And, to Mr. Stewart's credit, I don't think people realize he was injured early on in the season. If you watch his marks, he's got a little bit better each week. So if he's healthy and gets back to the 44 mid to low guy that he was in 2019, they absolutely could challenge the collegiate record. So that's, all jokes aside, they could absolutely do that. Absolutely.
Well, it's been recorded, so There they are.
Stick a pin in it.
It'll come back. It'll be posted on my wall.
Exactly.
Oh goodness. So taking the reins back. Well, we had talked about, are we going to predict team finishes, or are we gonna?
Oh yeah,
let
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like so. I apologize before I give the reins back. Who are team title predictions?
Oh, I was so hoping we were gonna slide.
So first of all, pump your brakes. Big leagues up.
Yes.
You give me your men's and your women's.
Okay, so women's, I have A&M first, SC second, and Arkansas.
No, just the winner. Just the winner.
Yeah, just the winner.
Oh, just the winner. Praise Jesus. Texas
Yeah.
A&M, because I wasn't
Okay,
trying to
on the
defend
for the
second or
men?
third. For the men, Oregon.
Okay. Oops. And Oregon. What do you got for me, Mr. Clyde?
This can't be good for me. It can't be good for me because
You're gonna pick the same too.
instinctually I feel like I was gonna say Oregon for the men and A&M for the women, but if I'm going with the same picks as you, that can't be good.
It can be good.
Damn it. I'm gonna say Oregon for the men, and you know what? We gonna make it a West Coast thing. I'm saying Oregon for the men and USC for the women, because I can't ride with you on a straight up prediction.
I almost fell.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. And for you, Sir Vaccinated.
Oh man. Well, first off, I'm gonna pick Arkansas for the women.
Probably a good pick.
I mean, it says something when I had all three teams finishing that's been mentioned. So I'm getting there.
Oh,
Go ahead and do it. You know you want to do it. Go ahead and do it.
you add the 4x1 and the discus and the javelin. And
I know where he's trying to get to.
you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get called a homer, and I always do, and I don't care. I'm picking the Gators.
Just waiting for it. No pressure. No pressure.
It's way too early.
Way too early.
I gotta see the meet first. But.
I look at it like this: it's way too early, but I look at the events added. Right? We add the 400 hurdles, we add the 4x1, we add the discus, we go from weight to hammer, we add the javelin.
DMR out.
DMR out.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
It's a gut pick. I think there's some special things that get added that don't necessarily get added to everybody else's roster. Like, yeah, he's my man's and all, but like that's really my money pick. It's a tough pick. I ain't gonna lie. I think the meet's gonna be really close outdoors.
Yeah, there's definitely some teams out. You just look at some of the performances you saw right out the gate from those roster additions we talked about. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So, Big League, take this back, please. Take this back, please.
Got it. All righty. So let's wrap up the indoor talk and let's reflect on the marks that we saw. Now they're recorded, they're in the books. What do we think led to those? What got us there? And what is it that do we think those will continue to outdoor? What effect are they going to have to outdoor?
Lucious should go first because he's been on the other side thus far.
Okay. See, here's me. Here's what I think. Like, I think that there's two big caveats here. One is mental and physical rest. So we had this large period of time, what was it, like 9 months, where there was not a lot of competing going on. So people got to rest, they got to heal. And the other thing I did, I think is, and I think that this is something you hear the endurance athletes talk about, is a base. And so instead of competing and tearing themselves down, the athletes got a chance to rest. They got a chance to build a base, whether it was in the weight room, whether it was on the roads, whether it was whatever they were doing. So those things, I think, on top of the fact that everybody was really hungry to get back at it again, and then to just boom. So I think it was the rest. I think it was the base of whatever, system that they were, charging, and the fact that everybody was hungry and eager to get it done again. And in light of the last part of the question, do I think we'll see it again outdoors? Absolutely. I don't think anything changes. I think it just continues on, maybe even at a higher level.
I think, will it continue? Absolutely. I actually think we're kind of in a perfect storm of circumstances, is the polite word I'll use. With the COVID additions to the rosters, or maybe a better term is COVID holdovers, because a lot of these people wouldn't be on the roster anymore. I think collectively, I think we're going to see the greatest outdoor season we've ever seen in the NCAA. The normal part of all of this is it's Olympic year shenanigans. I mean, this is what happened. So you have a perfect storm of Olympic year shenanigans, COVID holdovers, and to Lucious's point, when you take something away from athletes, especially younger athletes who, by definition of their age, are always in this sport trying to prove their worth, and they haven't had a chance to, because anybody who's an NCAA champion has the ability, or at least believes they have the ability, to run at the next level, right? So taking that opportunity away from them off the books last year, thinking they missed their Olympic window, now having all of that back, I think the motivation is just through the roof for everybody, but especially the best of these kids. And so I think it's a perfect storm of too many things, and I think the outdoor season is going to be incredible. And yeah, there's no reason why it won't continue. The COVID additions, man, like, people should really get nerdy and go look at this, because it's crazy who's still on some of these teams. I mean, this is as stacked as teams are going to be. I think they're going to see records falling all over the place.
Well, yeah, I'm going to agree with both of you and try to add, I guess, an additional spin to it. I think another reason that we saw what we saw indoors is I think people were forced to reinvigorate their love for the sport because it was taken away.
Yeah.
And I believe that when given the opportunity to train again and given the opportunity to go to track meets, people had a much, much greater appreciation for what they were doing and a much greater sense of urgency from meet to meet, from week to week, from training session to training session. And when you have to train, when you have to wear a mask to your training session, run, then put your mask back on, you are there to work. You are not there to mess around. So I think there was far less wasted time and movement, and a much greater passion and a much greater drive, probably than there ever has been in the collegiate track season. Outdoors, not only do I agree with both of my colleagues about why and what's going to happen outdoors, I would also like to add to this. With all of the, so eloquently put, COVID additions, the overall tenor of practice on like 45 campuses is much greater than it's ever been, because now you have, usually what happens in groups is you have the alphas, the betas, the gammas, and the deltas, and people self-select. Now you have multiple alpha dogs on campuses. You have people who were betas last year who felt like it was their time to ascend to alphadom. And so now it's going to be harder to make your teams 4x1. It's going to be harder to make your teams 4x4. So of course, when you get on the track and get your opportunity to run, you know you better not lay an egg because you got all the folks behind you. So I think for sure the outdoor track and field season is going to be off the hinges. And I think there's going to be a sequence of marks. There's going to be an array of marks that come from track meets that are just redonkulous.
And can I throw in one more thing? We were talking about this with some of our athletes this week. Right now, the NCAA tournaments are going on, and they're allowing limited fans in the seats. MLB baseball is about to get opened up. They're going to have fans. These kids have done everything they've done in empty stadiums, nobody in the building. With the way COVID is going, there's no chance that the cathedral is not going to have fans. And hopefully we get to a place in a quick enough time where we can just have all the fans. So you're talking about all these things we've already talked about. And the first time these athletes may really have a true fan base in their presence is in that building, in that city, on that brand new track for the NCAA championships. Yeah, like it's going to be electric. Even at partial capacity, it's going to be electric. And I'm hoping that we could get to a place with COVID where we could just have Eugene be Eugene. And, you know, it's going to be spectacular.
Hey, shout out to getting rhythmic clapping back because we got people in the stands to actually clap.
And there's still an asterisk to that because God knows if that's going to happen. So,
I mean, they're still, uncoordinated and have the inability to stay on beat, but, we'll give them credit for trying.
all right. So we have to, now that we've talked about these amazing marks and whatnot, let's talk about something just as amazing and not in a good way. So we've come up with this idea attributed to Sir Lucious to come up with a segment when applicable. What were they thinking? And you sound that out however you want. That's capitalized all the way through, question marks, exclamation marks, all the shabazz, right? This week, what was the NCAA basketball, specifically men's, coordinating committee, let's call it that, right? What were they thinking in allowing the blowing up of that and the fizzle out of the women's tournament? What are your insights on this? Everything that we've seen on social media, the remarks or not remarks that we've seen so far?
Let's be clear about what I believe we're discussing here. The viral situation where the coordinating committees decided it was a good idea to build a fully functional, lavish weight room training facility for the men and lay out for the women the equivalent of a Holiday Inn Express setup. I don't know who's responsible for these things, but they should be fired. It's blatantly disrespectful. And it's 2021. Obviously, that was going to get found out. There's no possibility that you could imagine that it wasn't going to be noticed. And then the retort to it, the media response to it, the explanation of it is just, it's insulting to everybody's intelligence. Fact of the matter is they made a decision. It was disrespectful. It paints a very clear picture of how too many people in positions of power view women's sports and their value in it. And the crazy thing is, on a much smaller scale, we kind of just went through this with the NBA versus WNBA bubble. There were inequities during that whole scene that were pointed out, not to that level of blatant disrespect, but at the end of the day, those are two different leagues responsible for their own issues. The NCAA is responsible for this whole thing. So they made a very conscious choice, and it's just blatantly disrespectful. And I don't understand how people aren't fired over that. Like, I mean, come on.
Well, and there was more. I mean, we saw the viral video from the young lady about the inequities of the weight room, but then there was the garb that they got, the testing mechanisms or methods that they were using for PCR versus the
The testing mechanism might be the worst of it. That might actually be the worst of it, because now you're talking about putting a different premium on the health of the athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is obviously ridiculous in this moment.
So, I mean, there were so many, but that was the first that
when you stop and think about this, you know, like, it's clearly the most sexist thing we've seen happen in a long time, right? And when you ask the question, what were they thinking? The answer is they weren't. The answer is, we're going to make sure that our big money maker over here gets very well taken care of, and we'll just do whatever we'll just do them, give them enough to get by. Just blatant disrespect from top to bottom. There's no way that you can explain this. So I think that whoever made these decisions has to be man or woman to stand up and go, look, I really screwed up here. And then you try to find a way to fix it, and you better find a way to make sure it never happens again. But this blatant disrespect, the most sexist thing we've seen in a very, very long time. And as far as the testing goes, like you said, Clyde, that is the most blatant disrespectful thing, because so my life doesn't matter as much as yours, right? So my safety doesn't matter as much as yours. And so, like, at some point in time, it's just got to stop. You know, it can't be, well, the men's is more important because the tournament makes more money. It's got to be the student athletes' lives, the student athlete experience is the same for everybody concerned. And until that becomes the issue, then we're going to continue to see nonsense like this. But that was just absolutely awful. So, in answer to the question, what were they thinking? They weren't thinking at all.
Yeah. So,
I mean, what do
you know, have you ever looked at something that was like always bad and thought to yourself, well, it can't get any worse, and then see it get so ridiculously worse that you're just like, how did that happen? Well, so the NCAA men's basketball tournament, which, for the record, if you look at its title, is the NCAA tournament, and the NCAA women's basketball tournament. So we just start right there. They've always been insanely inequitable, right? The men's tournament has always been played on the weekends or the day it's going into the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? The women's tournament has almost always been played either on the wraparound or like literally like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, like, you know what I mean? It's like right in the middle of the week. So it's always been bad. And then this year, and I think why I'm shocked that this has happened, right, is because I'm a nerd and I look into all kinds of things. And if you look at the governance of the NCAA and you look at the board of directors, there are a lot of women on the board of directors, right? And I'm not going to throw any specific shots at anybody, but here's what I'm going to say. Almost no decision in the NCAA governance is made unilaterally, which tells me, and this is why I'm like speechless, there were women involved in making these decisions. And that blows my mind. Yes. Right? Unfortunately, in 2021, like, I expect certain things, I've grown to understand that there are certain things that unfortunately are going to end up being sexist. I don't like it. And I fight against it in my mind, and sometimes verbally and sometimes on Twitter every year. But this year, and this ridiculous inequity, and this absolute craziness that happened with the 2 tournament workout setups and the 2 tournament testing setups, the fact that there were any women involved in the decision-making process for this is deplorable and inexcusable. Because unless you made a decision without looking at the 2 sites, which is a fireable offense, right? But if you looked at those 2 things and ever thought that that was okay, that ever got your vote, unless somebody drugged you and rubber stamped it with your thumb while you were asleep, I am confused how you, as a female in governance, whose job it is to protect and to represent all of the other females that you govern, how you could sign off on that nonsense. Look, the weight room they put together for the women's basketball bubble is not an acceptable weight room for the hotels that I stay in. Like, I would complain about that. Like, really? You call this a weight room? That's what I'm supposed to be like working out and losing my little fat pounds off of? The men's weight room looked like Globo Gym, right? I'm looking at that going like, are they gonna have all 64 men's teams working out at once? Because it was way too much. So it was like literally the worst. And think about that. That is saying something. That it was the worst thing I've ever seen come out of the NCAA. And I'm at a loss at this point in time, like how it happened. I almost don't even want to know, because if I find out, then I very much like Clyde feel like, and I'm never the guy that wants people to get fired. But if we dig and somebody gives answers and like we see like whose names were on these emails to make these decisions, man, everybody on that list got an issue.
Oh, listen, bro, they have to get fired. Like, people should be trying to find out whose signatures are on these decision-making situations. They have to go, because the weight room is the social media viral thing, but
The testing.
COVID testing.
Yeah.
Someone literally decided that it was cool to have less information on the COVID situation for the women. Like, we can do best accurate. Nah, it's okay. It's the girls. Like, just give them a test. It's fine. Really? You
I
have
don't
to get
get it.
fired over that. If that's not fireable in the world of athletics administration, if those decisions aren't fireable, then the whole thing's a fraud and everybody could just have their jobs. Like, what else are we doing here?
I mean, the first question I had when I saw this is like, why do we have the position senior women's administrator? That's their whole job, is to make sure that that doesn't happen. That is literally why the SWA position was created, was so that that didn't happen, so that women were involved in all decision-making processes involving women's athletics. That is exactly why the position was created.
And this doesn't have, and I'll say this, it's moments like that, honestly, that I'm very grateful that our sport, though there are separate championships, and in most cases, I think these days, it used to be separate staffs. Now most programs are combined again with staffs. But the fact that the men and the women in our sport are in the same places or in the same venues, go to the same championship, I'm grateful that is the way our sport functions, because if it didn't, this would happen here too. There's no reason to believe it wouldn't. And like, oh man, like that was crazy to see. Crazy to see, because it was all about the gym, and then like after 3 days of the gym, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, the COVID testing's different too. Like, nah.
Yeah, I mean, it went to the meals, it went to the way it's been promoted, everything. There was inequities on all levels. So it's what were they thinking? For sure. So just another element of the show that we're going to introduce in year 2, season 2, if you will. Let's see how that goes. I know. Oh my gosh. Well, that'll wrap up our speaking points. But of course, never fret. We've got a hot seat. And Sir Lucious, you're under fire, sir. So take some deep
I
breaths.
feel like I was put under fire earlier in the show already.
I know, right?
Let's continue.
Well, it's because the beard is gone. So we feel like you just have
I
nothing
cleaned
going.
up. Yeah. I cleaned up, yeah.
It's that baby face. We just had to like break you in again, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
of course.
the football season is over, so he's not coaching the Chargers anymore.
Oh my God.
Didn't I get fired from the Chargers already? So-
You did. You did.
Big League, can I make a request?
Yes, sir.
After you pelt him with these questions, since he's been throwing questions at us, can me and Lamar ask him one hot seat question? Just one.
Ooh, okay. Okay. I can dig that.
I like it.
All right. I know, right?
Oh, this is
All
gonna
right.
be fun.
Here we go. So I'll read slow so y'all have some time to think of a question.
Oh, you know,
Oh, I'm
Clyde's
good.
got his question.
I'm
That's why
ready.
he asked me to ask a question. So that's not a
All
problem.
right. All right. Sir Lucious,
Yes, ma'am.
when you got vaccinated, what arm did you get the shot in?
My left.
Got it.
I couldn't risk my bowling arm being sore later in the day, so I do left.
Right. What is on your office computer screensaver?
COVID protocols. Reminders.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting. Do you have a meet day prep routine? And if you're willing to share it, what is it?
You mean like for myself?
Yep, for yourself.
Meat day prep. Oh yeah. Either oatmeal or scrambled eggs and sausage. My Bible scripture for the day. And I have to make sure I talk to the family before the meet starts.
Got it. Like it. I like it. If I wasn't a track coach, I would be
Lost in space. Honestly, I really believe I would turn towards basketball. I do.
Got it.
I do. I probably shouldn't have said that with Clyde in the room because he's going to bring that back to haunt me later. But especially if he wins this basketball thing. Yes.
That's funny. So for the viewers, I've newly been anointed into the Apple family. I now have, so now I understand the struggles, or not struggles, right? So Sir Lucious, do you utilize your Face ID or do you type in a code?
Well, in the days of masks, so like it depends where I am. When I can, I Face ID, but a lot of times you got to go with the code because the one I did
They can't tell.
Exactly.
Okay. Last but not least, in your downtime, is it TV time or is it nap time?
Oh wow, it depends on what time of day it is, but well, let's put it like this. I'm gonna say this so he doesn't. Lamar knows me. If it's downtime, it's nap time with the TV watching me. So he was gonna say that, so I just figured I'd put that out there. Yeah, I mean, I've been known to sleep through episodes of Law and Order, and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm right there with you. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It is fall asleep.
Yes.
All right. So you survived my questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gentlemen, pew pew.
Go ahead, Clyde. I'm sure you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready. I only get one, so it has to be a good one. You most recently were sitting in the seat of host for our NCAA indoor pick'em contest. Who did you believe was going to win?
Oh my God.
The
This
content?
guy.
Yes.
I mean, I'll be honest, after reviewing the picks, I honestly thought that Lamar was going to win in a close. Like I kind of did the calculations in my head, my public math skills, and I thought it was going to be really close between you and Lamar. No offense to Big League, but I thought it was going to be like a 1 or 2 point victory for Lamar, but then he he had some things go wrong, and you just curb stomped him. So.
Fair enough.
So I just want to say for the record, this man had an opportunity to ask Sir Lucious any question, and he asked an ego-boosting question.
I asked a petty question.
Now that
Exactly.
is the definition of petty.
I asked a petty question.
So you go to the dictionary, petty,
Oh my God.
picture of Clyde.
Richard Petty. He's definitely car 43.
At least he listen. At least he owned the answer. He gave an honest answer. He could have took.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I went through it. I mean, nothing personal, big league, but you kind of, you there was some concerning picks there. Yeah,
I'm working on it.
And but to your credit, you were pretty close to Lamar on the women's side. So, but I thought it was going to be close between Clyde and Lamar, and then it just kind of went south for Lamar really quickly. So.
It did. All right. Well, in the interest of actually getting our viewership to learn something about Sir Lucious, Sir Lucious, you, like me, are an undercover sneakerhead. So the question I have for you and for the viewership is this, especially given who you are and your access to everything. If you were allowed one pair of J's and only one pair of J's, but you could get them, which one pair of J's, both number and colorway, would you pick?
See, and that's an unfair question because I don't know the numbers and I don't pay attention to them. I just look. If I like them, I just get them. I mean, I don't know nothing about numbers. But the pair of J's that I've always wanted is a pair that I have that I actually wore at the Ncaa championships is the Gator color J's that they're actually a Knicks shoe that everybody thinks a Gator shoe, but it's really a Knicks shoe from the 80s or something, 84, I think it is. But yeah, those are my favorite J's, and I was able to get some last year.
So I'm guessing they're ones. Do they have a swoosh on them?
No. Yes.
If they have, okay.
Again.
This is your first piece of knowledge. If you wear a pair of J's that have a swoosh on them, they are ones because that's the only Jordans that have a swoosh.
Okay.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, the swoosh went away after once we got the Air Jordan number 2, there was no more swoosh.
Right. And I think I've heard my athletes talking about that, but again, I don't get into them for the numbers. I see some of them. I like the color. I like, hey, I got some, something I could wear those with. Yeah, I'm good. So of course the Gator colored ones, but again, those I did. Coach Peterson helped me look that up. The fact that is actually attributed to a great basketball game between the Knicks and somebody. So, yeah,
I like it.
So Sir Lucious has a pair of ones in Gator color.
Yes.
AKA Nick color.
Yes.
I'm not a sneakerhead, but I know enough to know that that's probably impressive.
For sure. And they're probably, if he knew how much they were worth, he would probably stop wearing them.
Right.
Yeah. Trust me, they've only been worn twice, so it's not that big. Like, we'll see. When it comes to my sneakers, you know how I am. Like, I don't wear them a lot, especially the ones my special ones, my son likes to call them. So like, I can't risk the fact that they might get too dirty. Or as MJ likes to tell me, Dad, you can't get the crease in them, right? So
yeah, no
can't wear them
creases.
too often.
So I want to share something really quick. This is one of those hot off the presses things. I cannot tell you who I contacted because of all kinds of reasons, but I will say this. I asked the question, how bad have you and or y'all been getting pounded and beat up for the basketball tourney inequities? And this was the response. Me personally, not at all, but the organization has been getting hammered, my brother. An interesting study in human behavior. I think when they made these decisions, they knew that they might, like, if this goes wrong, it could go bad kind of deal, right? I don't think they had any idea how egregious this is or was going to be thought to be by the general public. right? Because as we talked about over the UCLA young man thing, right? The angry mob is there now. The angry mob is prepared to pounce on any perceived or real inequalities. This one, as large and egregious as it is, like, this isn't going to stop. Like, the God's honest truth is, there really are going to be people who go after people's jobs at this point. Based on the text I just got, that heads will roll. Watch and see.
As they should.
As they should.
Well, let's round out the show with our heartbeat props. Let's give people kudos who deserve them and are here to receive them. Is there anybody who is jumping up? Okay.
And I'm gonna kind of make this a double. I'm gonna give some heartbeat props, and I'm gonna make a statement if that's okay with you guys. So my heartbeat props goes out to a guy that he walked up to me at an indoor meet. He was a high school senior. It was literally about 45 minutes before the 55 hurdles back then. The O'Connell Center was supposed to start. Knowing good and well, there's no way I could legally let a high schooler into the race. But he very calmly, very passionately gave me his plea that he wanted to run. And when I told him he couldn't, he said, I really want to be a Gator and I want you to keep an eye on me. And he had a pretty, good senior season, ended up coming to Florida, being a major cog in our program. He was never the superstar, but he was always the guy that was propping somebody up. He was always the guy that was learning and teaching and motivating others. And today just happens to be his birthday. So I want to give some heartbeat props and a big birthday shout out to my man, Jarius Cooper, for the wonderful things he's done in his career. He's now an assistant coach at Stanford University. So Coop, happy birthday, my man. The other thing I want to just say, and I want to say this screaming as loud as I can, is freaking stop it. For the idiots out there that are hurting people, that are killing people, because you think that every Asian person is responsible for the freaking corona nonsense. That is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay? Just stop it. Stop hurting people because of the color of their skin. Stop hurting people because they don't look like you. Stop hurting people because somebody put it in your head that this one race or this one group of people is responsible for the idiocy that's going on in this world. If you want to truly, I don't want you killing anybody, but if you want to blame somebody, blame the leadership in this country. Blame the leadership around the world, because that's where this all starts and that's where all the problem comes from. But please, 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 I beg you to stop with the senseless violence that is going on around this country over this idiocy.
Amen.
You know what? I'll jump in there. I'm going to make a lighthearted joke. I know for sure that the person that I'm going to honor with my heartbeat props tonight does not watch the show because she's blind.
You're terrible.
Christ.
I am not terrible, because when you hear what I'm going to say about this young lady, you'll understand. The young lady that I'm going to speak about tonight is the student athlete that in my 23 years of coaching that I learned the most from. I learned the most about the indomitable spirit of human beings. I learned the most about, as a coach, how detrimental it can be to deflect limitations on a student athlete that you think they have, that they don't have. And I'll say the biggest thing that I learned is how to pay attention to context clues and really read all rooms and situations and use those things as valuable assets in my personal and professional lives. And if you feel like going to Google, there's I think maybe a 2020 thing on this particular incident, but I was blessed enough to be able to coach a blind female collegiate pole vaulter named Charlotte Brown. And from the moment that the recruitment process, and yes, there was one of those, started, all the way until our coach-athlete relationship ended, I was amazed and overcome with how in the heck did she do that? Thoughts and comments on a regular basis. And I want to be clear, she's not seeing impaired. She is not, sees very little. Charlotte Brown is, was, and will always be blind. And she was a pole vaulter that I was blessed enough to be able to coach. And it was actually relatively good. And I don't know why, I was having a conversation with somebody today and her name came up. And I just kind of was, I sat there and had, 10 minutes of Charlotte Brown memories. My favorite is she and I got into an argument because she wanted to ride a bike on campus. And she was not concerned with what her parents thought or what anybody, or even her brother who was on the team thought. She knew she had to get it by me. And she came to my office, she said, we need to talk. And I said, okay. She says, I want to get a bike, like to ride around campus. And I said, okay, so not for nothing, because I know you don't really like want to hear this sometimes, like, but you are blind, right? Like you can't ride a bike. And she's like, I can ride a bike. And I was like, all right, fair enough. My concern is not with you and your abilities to ride the bike. My concern is with the surprises, because I know you have the entire campus mapped out in your head with your photographic memory. But if there's an open manhole or somebody runs out in front of you, like my concern is not with you, it's with them. I probably got my law degree that day, because had my argument not been that strong, I for sure would have lost the argument and Charlotte would have been riding around on a bike. Because trust and believe, she made me agree to a bet that if she did a certain athletic thing, that I would let her drive my car.
Oh my God.
in a parking lot with no other cars. But it's just one of those things, right? Like
you got to explain that now. You just say let her drive the car, just move on.
Well, listen, if you met Charlotte, you would understand. I probably would have been less scared with her behind the wheel of a car than some sighted people. I mean, this is a person who was completely blind, who I put her in my phone as NDNC. And one day somebody saw it pop up because she called me and they're like, what is that? And I said, no dog, no cane. Because Charlotte Brown refused to use a cane. And her dog that she had in high school, he grew, like he got anxiety when they moved from Texas to Indiana. And so the dog just became a family pet and she refused to break in another one. So she was walking around a college campus for 2 years without a dog or a cane. So yeah, I know Charlotte doesn't watch, but I will text her and she will probably then go in and listen to all 51 episodes because she's amazing. But at the end of the day, my heartbeat props go to literally the person that I learned the most from as a collegiate coach, one Miss Charlotte Brown.
Nice. Clyde, you need a minute? I'm good.
Would you like to go?
Sure. With an indoor season under our belt in regards to travel for track and field and whatnot, and knowing what this industry goes through in a normal life without COVID protocols and whatnot, I want to give my heartbeat props out to the service industry, the restaurant workers, the people who are taking care of our food orders. We're hoping not as many bars are frequented, but they are being frequented in certain places. But those people show up to work hoping to make money, putting themselves out there to be vulnerable to catch said virus, and hoping and praying that the people who are coming and are going to have their wisest brain cells activated to only come in if they're feeling well and whatnot, and not being infected or knowingly infected. But on top of that, now they've got these teams who are traveling and ordering these huge amounts of meals and, hoping that they get 53 orders right the first time. And, hopefully no one calls back and then we have to call back for a receipt because we forgot it or we lost it or whatever it is. But they deal with all of it, and it's not easy having been in the service industry. I can only imagine what it's like to wear a mask and do that, run around and make sure everyone's accommodated. So my heartbeat props go out to the service industry, specifically the food service people.
This week was kind of rough for me. Everybody that knows me knows, I'm a track junkie. I'm also a news junkie. And this definitely isn't props. It's more so a challenge. One of the consequences, I guess is a decent word, of the pandemic is, we kind of got a break for all the stress the pandemic has caused. We kind of got a break from having to hear about all the mass shootings. And it seems ridiculous to me that just as vaccines are rolling out in mass, just as people are starting to get a little bit of normalcy back in their lives, that we are about to bring back the normalcy of mass shootings in this country. And that's not a normal that any of us want to return to. And so, my heartbeat goes out to citizens of Atlanta, citizens of Boulder, Colorado, families of people that are dealing with this absolute ridiculous reality right now. And my challenge is, to those of us, those of us who, the people that we send, to make decisions for us as a country, those in power. I don't really care what it takes. I don't really want to. I'm not really interested in the excuses. I'm not really interested in the political maneuverings. Change the rules. Do what you got to do. I don't really care. But we're so long past, the need for, gun reforms and, doing something serious about these situations, because this can't be a normal that we're getting ready to return to. It just can't. I didn't realize how nice it was not to have to read those headlines or hear about those things, because it hadn't happened in a really long time because everybody was forced to go in the house. Well, if everybody's coming out the house, this can't be what we're returning to. It just can't. So to the lawmakers, to the public officials, to whoever that has the ability to do something about this, please do, because this can't be. This cannot be the reality that we're going to return to. This can't be the reward for coming out of the pandemic. It just can't be. And it's been way too sad this week with the news of those two incidents. So that's where my heart's been this week, with the families and the people dealing with all of that stuff. And to Lucious's point, the fact that one of them was absolutely rooted in racism is just depressing, overwhelming, although not shocking. And the excuses made for these people have got to stop. It just has to stop. So please, I hope people are out there doing things about this. And I know that doesn't really have much to do with anything that we do on this show, but that's where my head has been at this week. So.
Yep. Well, all the love to those affected and in those communities affected. And, we can all start by just making a small change in the circles that we're in and just cause that ripple effect. So I challenge everybody to do that. And the people that you touch every day, just cause the ripple and it turns into a wave. So in wrapping up episode 51, man, oh man.
51.
Crazy.
Hey, alert your friends. Everybody tune in to episode 52. We got something for you. So bring your friends, pop your popcorn.
Get in before 10. Just kidding.
It's gonna be a doozy.
All right. Well, everyone have a great weekend ahead of them. Have a great week. If you're traveling, be safe. we are outdoors, but it doesn't mean everything went away. So do what you do, keep thriving, keep surviving, keep persevering, and we'll see each other in a couple days or in a few days. Bye, everyone.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents smash the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot, knife the butter. Truth pin them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics LLC, there's no others. Track and field's pace and we'll peel to go further. Hey, Wile E. Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics LLC, the task force.